Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Sparky.
And Salty.
You know what this is, babe?
What is it?
Wiedersehen. We've reached the end, my friend.
I know, of the Black Fire Week.
Black Fire Week has come to a close.
I think that the only one that sticks in my head is the Emperor song.
The Emperor song was a favorite. We like the Dissection one, the Dead Angels On
Oh,
one.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Dissection song was good.
Yeah.
I think the Emperor song's number one right now.
Yeah, it just
And I think
blew me out of the water.
I actually really like Emperor, actually.
I agree.
I want to hear. So if there's another Emperor song, we would like to hear it. Oh, but the Dimmu Borgir song, we like that one.
Oh, yeah.
With the girl. We were playing that in the car yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so between Emperor and, well, we can't know because we have to do Carving and Giant first.
Yeah.
So then we'll see. Do you remember this guy?
No?
Vice did a because we were looking at black metal documentaries because we were doing our research. Remember Vice did that thing with that guy and he was staring at the guy at the end and he went, like, yeah.
Oh, that one?
That's
him.
That's
this guy?
him, yeah.
Oh, you
Vice did a documentary on this guy and they were scared to death of him.
You know what though? It was weird because I mean that was kind of creepy when he was just staring off. I was like, did the video freeze or but like I kind of like had compassion on him at some parts.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When they were walking up toward his cabin and
yeah, he's by himself.
Yeah.
I think he's with somebody now though. He's like he's married to a dude and all that now, so. It
seemed like people were mean to him too.
Yeah, like people tried to attack him and hurt him.
Yeah, stuff like that. And I didn't like hearing that. Jeez, why are people gonna be so mean?
People are so terrible to people. And you know, he fought back and he hurt the guy. He tortured the guy. Remember that whole situation? But like, people make a thing to attack this guy. Yeah. Because he's different or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's obvious he didn't have a very enjoyable childhood to me anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so this is his band.
Which
and I don't even think he's in the band anymore.
This?
He's the leader. He's the lead singer and all that.
Oh, he's a singer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he writes. Pretty sure he writes. He's like the alpha dog in the band. But anyway, so by the end of this, we'll have our own assessment of what our favorite black metal band was, if we're allowed to have a favorite. But before all that, we had a book contest.
Yeah, we did. So nobody got the official number, you guys.
Right. So should we tell them?
Absolutely. Tell them the official number.
We have another contest. Like, I didn't tell you this, but there's another contest that's happening right after it.
Yeah, but let's pick a new number.
All right. The magic number was 58.
You guys, 58.
58 was the magic number. We had two people come very, very close to it.
Unbelievably close.
First one is Space Cat Kevin.
Yep.
You can see right here. We're sending you the book, my man, because I told him, I said, his breakdown was so brilliant because we had dropped clues throughout the shows, but nobody picked up on them because people have other things to do with their lives.
Right.
Except for Space Cat Kevin, he came out with this entire.
Some people, like, it doesn't mean he doesn't have anything to do with his life. It's just some people, they just pick stuff up and it just stays in there, like
very analytical.
It takes no, like, it's effortless. You know what? There's two words I've been having trouble saying. Effortlessly. This word, and then there was another word yesterday. Oh no, I was saying the same word because remember that little kid was running out with Yoshi? Yeah, and he was just like, poof, poof, poof. He's taking these little strides. Our son's like running and not able to catch up, and the other kid's like barely going.
Slow,
I'm like,
smooth,
it's so effortlessly.
Is the AC on?
Huh?
Is the AC on?
Oh, the AC is running.
Pause.
AC's off.
Okay, so Space Cat Kevin wins.
Yeah, Space Cat Kevin. Look at that Look at that cat picture.
I know it. People and their cats.
Yeah, but you know what? I like people's personalities and stuff. Like, I would never pick this picture.
Yeah.
You know? But I bet he gets a huge kick out of it and loves it.
And then another person's getting a book just because.
Yeah.
It's Amanda.
Yeah.
So here's Amanda. We can't find these people's names in these pictures. Anytime.
Yeah, but this one, okay, so she probably maybe she likes long walks in the woods, or maybe she lives by the woods, or maybe she lives in a place that's not woodsy at all and she wishes she could be there.
Congratulations, Amanda.
Amanda, you got the book.
She was just very persistent. She's like, I want the damn book.
Yeah, Vin's like, okay, we're sending this girl a book. She said, send me the damn book.
Yeah.
But did she actually say that? I think she said, send me the book.
She said, give me the damn book. So we're going to give you the damn book, okay? Speaking of books, we have another contest coming. So right now, Sori and I are doing a fantasy story And we're publishing it there's probably going to be about 12 chapters. We're publishing it chapter by chapter for $10 patrons and above. So if you can guess a number between 200 and 300, we will give you a golden ticket and you'll have free access to the book. If you're into fantasy, I think it's a pretty good fantasy story.
It's good.
Chapter 2 is going to be published this Monday. We publish a new chapter every Monday. And Sori is going to be doing narration vocals of it. So you're already down 2 chapters, so you need to hurry up. So anyway, there you go. By the end of the book, we're going to have a full dramatized audio with pictures. One of our resident village artists has pictures. And you might even hear some original music from me in the background. All right, so let's go. Gorgoroth carving a giant.
Go.
I remember people were asking us about this band, like the first time we did Blackfire.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of people saying, you have to watch the video, you have to watch the video. And then somebody, I think it was James, said, do not watch the video. No, actually, why? God almighty. What's going on with you?
I don't know what the song's about. Like, I want to get into the lyrics because the visuals were so... There was like... See, again, when I'm overstimulated on so much, then I don't really get everything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's a lot going on.
The visuals on that one were like... I was like, the horror! You know, on some of the parts. Then I'm like, what is this trying to communicate? You know, like, when you see bodies and blood, it's like... But then I'm like, what is... So that's why I want to get into the lyrics, because I don't know what they were trying to communicate through those visuals.
Yeah. And of course...
I actually like those metal things hanging off his arm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, you have the... obvious nod to Christianity to some degree with having people being crucified.
Maybe. Or maybe they're saying something about the Roman Empire. I mean, how do we... I don't know, because I don't know what the lyrics were talking about.
I mean, it's black metal.
Yeah.
So there's like this, like, almost necessary, you know, connection between black metal and Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's so interesting.
Was there an upside down cross I thought I saw burning?
Well, sure. There's an inverted cross,
yeah.
And there's naked people on crosses, which actually, I don't know if they were trying to be provocative.
But that's actually how.
But that's how Romans crucified people. You know. So, I mean, you know, on the one hand, it's like this very shockingly ugly picture. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it's what they did.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, as shocking and as ugly as the crucifixions looked in this video,
that was nothing.
It's child's play compared to the reality of what actual crucifixion was.
For sure. Well, it said that Jesus was beyond recognition.
Right.
Like, that means he was tore up so bad.
Was beyond human semblance.
That you couldn't really tell who he was.
Right. So So if you're a Christian and you're upset about the imagery in this video, then I'm particularly speaking about the crucifixion. If you're upset about the imagery in the video, then you don't have an understanding of when Paul was saying, I knew nothing among you except for Christ and him crucified. Mm-hmm. And how big of a scandal, the idea that if you were to choose like one of those crucified people, I think there was a dude there, and you were to say, that guy is the Son of God and he's going to rule the world.
Yeah.
You say, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Hello?
Can't even get himself off a cross?
The ugliness of it and the whatever, mm-hmm. and the powerlessness of it, you know, for the unlikelihood of an entire religion being based off of a crucified person.
Yeah.
Because this, Paul said, was the centerpiece of Christianity. I knew nothing among you but Christ and him crucified.
Right.
Well, and Paul, you know, according to Aaron Ross, is the inventor of Christianity.
Right.
Right? So it's
why would you do that?
Why would you? That's such an ugly picture. Mm-hmm. That's, you know, the guys in the band were the powerful in the video. They were the powerful, proactive ones, and then you had these crucified people in the background that were just basically props in their show. And it's like, yeah, one of those props is the Son of God, and he's going to rule the world one day. And we're probably going to end up like that, but that's okay. Like, so when I was watching that, I'm like, okay, this is designed to shock and terrorize, but I've read actual, you know, eyewitness accounts of crucifixion, and they're much worse than that.
Yeah.
Like, the disgustingness. Like, if he would have read some of the accounts of crucifixion, he could have done much worse as far as the props and the stages and things like that. Yeah. So visually speaking, it was meant to sort of evoke a certain type of reaction, I assume. But for me, like, it just brought me back to, you know,
because you got the lyrics. Like, that was the point.
Descriptions of. No, I mean, I don't really see a lot of the. Well, I mean, we'll get into the lyrics in a second. There was one part of the video that was actually disturbing to me, though, not the crucifixions.
It was all the bodies piled up. That was the part that bothered me the most.
That to me is like, you know, there's sort of like this misanthropic strain within black metal, which is just hatred for humanity, basically.
Yeah.
And like,
they forget, you know, like, have you ever seen a pile of worms?
Yeah, well, it says worm to every living worm, and so I think like that visual went with the
That part?
with the song to some degree. But it's like all these like bodies just
touching each other and like,
yeah, and it's like ugh. So it's like if you were to consider humanity as just this big giant massive, you know, meat all like intertangling with each other and all the rest of it, it's a pretty disgusting idea.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, our view of humanity is conveniently romanticized.
Yeah.
Oh, look at these beautiful image bearers of God.
Yeah.
But if they're not, it's just, it was sickening. I was like, oh my God. So like, I could see how a person could be like disgusted by humanity, which, you know, in the interview with, I think his name is Gahl, G-A-H-L, like he's clearly, you know, doesn't really have much time for human beings, so.
Yeah.
So the visuals in the video are meant to evoke certain emotions. The crucifixion stuff didn't really bother me, but those scenes with the people, and it's interesting because people were naked and stuff, and it's like, I thought to myself, I said, I bet you there's some people who like get aroused by that. There's a bunch of naked people, and there's some people who just like doesn't matter what the circumstances are, as long as there's a naked body, they're aroused, which goes with the thing, because might and lust is my work. It's the first line of the song, so it's kind of like a lot of these bands, like I don't even think English is their first language. That's really amazing to me that they can write songs like this and English isn't even their first language.
Yeah.
But in order for your stuff to get really big and expansive out there, you gotta speak English.
Yeah.
So kudos to that. So yeah, so that part of the video was pretty gross. That was the hardest for me, is all those naked people.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what the hardest part for you was. That was definitely it for me too.
Yeah.
Well, but for me, I'm thinking, ugh. And like everybody's like touching each other, like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like that.
You know how I am with cleanliness.
I know.
All these people are dirty and
everybody. First of all, I feel like everybody's dirty. Then on top of that, like, I don't know what kind of blood they squirt all over everybody, but you have to be like that for the whole. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't get past that.
Well, I was having this discussion about hell with one of my good friends in the village, and we were talking about conceptions of hell, and you know, I gave the argument. I'm kind of, because I don't like the concept of hell at all.
No.
So like we're gonna do that whole like Vin and Sori, you know, Bible, whatever. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but one of the shows is gonna be about past concepts and passages in the Bible that we don't like.
Yes.
And that's like our ultimate. We don't like that concept of hell, and so.
Yep.
But when I look at the entire sort of start to finish kind of message in the Bible, it seems like right now hell is some sort of dimension that God basically says, okay, you guys can do whatever you want to do, because obviously you don't want to listen to me. And these guys voluntarily created this world, and there's millions of people who love this band and love this aesthetic and watch this video over and over and over again. So what we're seeing that looks like very hellish to them is something that they enjoy. And so part of my theology of hell per se is you can become so corrupted and evil in your mind that hellish things are heavenly to you.
Isn't that interesting?
So that's kind of where I am right now. And then we were talking about the loss of reason, the loss of the ability to reason.
Yeah.
Like, why would you present this as some sort of desirable art or whatever? Why would you want to be part of something like this?
Yeah.
And in my mind, could only be like the loss of the ability to reason. And so you kind of get locked into it because you wouldn't have because we were thinking about, well, why does it have to be eternal? What if the person changes their mind, 50 years into that dimension and say, well, this sucks, we got to get out of here. And you can only do that if you have a mind to reason. Right? Because it's like you can't change your mind if you've lost your mind. You can't change something that you've lost, right? And so, anyway, so we need to get into the lyrics, but the video to me was just a very clear picture of hell, and it's true too. Like the all the naked people and just the unmitigated lust. You know, there's very little things to me that are, and then that's because I have a penchant toward violence. You know, we talked about it before, but there are very few things that disgust me more than just unbridled sexuality.
Yeah, I know. The first time that I realized that you were like that, it was so surprising to me because I literally had never met another person that was like that.
Well, there's lots of people like that.
I said I never met anyone that was like that. Most
I mean, it doesn't give me any moral high ground. I mean, I can watch Vikings where people hack each other to death for pieces of land or whatever. I'm completely fine with it. Yeah, you look away. So it doesn't give me any moral high ground for anything. It's like, okay, then you don't like that, but you like unbridled violence.
Yeah.
That's for a good cause. Not really for a good cause. None of them are for a good cause. But yeah, there are very few things that disgust me more than that.
I met this guy one time. I was a teenager and I was walking through the mall. I feel sick.
Go ahead.
I was walking through the mall and this guy came up to me, he was acting really, really strange, and he told me that he was hungry and so he needed some money. And of course I had been, I think 1 year into Bible college or something like that. So like the big thing was like, don't give somebody money because then they're going to use it for drugs and blah, blah, blah. So take them to get their burger. So, which I totally think makes sense, but there was no instruction on. So here I am, like a young girl by myself, going to bring this really, really strange man for a burger, rather than, it would have probably been safer just to give him the money to go with him. But I was like, okay, I was fearless. I had a thought in my mind. So anyway, so I went to go get a burger with him. My little brother was there, and he was really, really scared because the guy was really strange. Actually, I think that the guy was full of demons because the way that the conversation carried on, it was very... I
remember this story.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed from the discussion, and from multiple discussions that I've had when it's people that seem to be underneath the influence of demons, there seems to be a crazy connection between heightened sexual activity and violence coupled together. Like,
yeah, but
extreme violence.
He was being what, very sexual with you or whatever?
No, it wasn't with me. Mm-mm.
Well, yeah,
he was just talking about, he was saying like, you know, things that he wants to do, like, and it wasn't, and that was kind of the thing that was strange, was the conversation he wasn't even really having with me. Like, it wasn't like he was looking at me and talking about those things. He was like looking off, like he was like entranced in this, like he was seeing it play out before his own eyes. So he was there with me, but not really. And then I would say his actual name, his birth name, and then he would be like, because he would be like entranced in this thing, and then I'd say his birth name, and he'd be like, you know, and kind of come back. But yeah, he would like talk. He was like talking about all of this, like, you know, things that he wanted to do, like his, and they were. I was like, oh, it's. But anyway.
Might and lust my work. No trust is for man, father of unholy damnation, rewarding assistance for an ended life. Father of unholy damnation, light, rewarding assistance for an ended life. So like this is like, I'm assuming this is the devil, right? Or Satan, or wherever.
Yeah.
And pause it. Rewarding assistance for an ended life. There seems to be like, remember I told you about that guy that was like, you know, Satanism, like, these guys are theistic Satanists. Like, they believe that there's an actual devil.
Satan.
The majority of the folks that we listen to don't believe there's an actual devil. Mm-hmm. Like, they just look at Satan as this archetypical
like concept.
Aspect of rebellion.
Yeah.
That, you know, feeds their philosophy on life. But these yeah, that guy was talking about, like, you know, killing yourself out of despair is not the height of Satanism. Like, if you want to kill yourself because you want to go on your term.
Yeah.
So it's like, here, rewarding assistance for an ended life. Like, the reward that you get for following this guy's path, or this spiritual path, is death.
Oh, yeah. I didn't understand that line. I'm like, rewarding assistance?
Yeah, so
okay,
there's...
yeah, I see what that is.
there's this woman in Proverbs, and she's the heroine. So it's very interesting because Proverbs is an ancient Near Eastern document, but there's a woman who is a heroine that's a hero all throughout the book. It's Lady Wisdom, and she says, "Those who hate me love death."
Yes.
You know, and so wisdom in Proverbs is connected to God consciousness.
And God, yep.
Right, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So, like, knowing God and knowing who He is what gives you wisdom. So, if you hate wisdom, you love death.
Yep.
And it seems to me that there's a certain strand, and it's interesting because death metal, not so much, but there's a certain strand within even black metal. The theistic side of black metal seems to celebrate and worship death.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And that's a very interesting, but it makes sense in the sense of this whole concept of self-will. Remember we were talking about the Dimmu Borgir song where they were saying, "I'm the master of my own whatever."
Yeah.
And I said, I was laughing at it because it's like you can't even determine when you were born. Mm-hmm. And I said, most of us won't be able to determine when and how we die. Mm-hmm. So how the hell are you the master of anything? Mm-hmm. But these people say, no, we can determine when we die and how we die. So it's just interesting that death seems to be a positive in these people's, and it's not death because, you know, I'm so sad or whatever. It's death because I'm the master of everything, and including the way that I leave this world.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I keep seeing like the you know, they'll put the pig's head. In this case, it was, I don't know what.
It was a goat.
Was it a goat? Yeah. Putting those heads up in there and the feeling that they might get from that. But anyway.
Well, of course, the concept of animal sacrifice is all through the Bible. Mm-hmm. So part of me is like, I feel challenged a little bit by these guys because on the one hand, it's like you're disgusted by this stuff, but on the other hand, you read this all through the Old Testament.
Well,
so-and-so sacrificed this and blah, blah, blah. And Solomon, there was like 500,000 cattle got...
No, I'm totally with you on that. And I never liked that growing up. That was one of my things. I hated the sacrificial system.
Right.
But I will say that there is a difference in how the sacrificial system is presented, in my opinion, over and against the way that this is being done. For instance, what was the one we did yesterday that was Mayhem?
Man.
So the Mayhem song, you know, when I watched one of the videos from that Solomon sent me, like there's a pig's head, it's on this stake, and then the guy comes up and he's like digs the eye of the pig and the blood's coming out, and then he licks it, and it was all this, you know, going on. And I feel like that there's what the old sacrificial system was communicating wasn't a worship of death or like a lusty enjoyment of what was going on. It was to present, this is a problem. You guys have a problem. Sin is a problem. So death was looked at as this is a negative, negative thing that has to happen as a result of the sin that we're committing.
Right.
It wasn't a worship. They didn't worship the death of the animal.
Right. No, I agree with you on that one. In the Old Testament, the death was designed to indicate this is the worst of all possible outcomes.
Right.
And you should be the one dying for your sin, but the animal's taking your place, although the blood of bulls and goats doesn't satisfy God, as it says in the Old Testament.
Right.
But, I agree. So the Old Testament sacrificial system was designed to bring you face to face with death, with your own death, while still finding a way to keep you alive.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm completely good with the old sacrificial system. And we'll talk about that.
Good with it?
Like, I'm not saying I'm like, oh yes, that's fine. I mean, it was communicating something, so I'm good with all those animals being slaughtered and the birds' heads being twisted.
I mean, I'm good.
No, I'm not.
I'm good with them being.
I'm not good with it. I do care, and I don't like it, and I never have.
I mean, if I wasn't buddies with the sheep, you know. What do you mean you don't care? You just ate a hamburger yesterday.
No, I didn't eat a hamburger yesterday. You ate a hamburger yesterday.
You ate a chicken Caesar salad, whatever it was.
But I'm saying, what's the difference? I don't like it, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to eat it. And I was a vegetarian.
Well, you're not supposed to like it.
Okay, well, you're saying you don't care.
I don't.
Okay, well, I do. Okay. So you can't say that I don't care just because I ate a Caesar salad.
I'm just saying you're inconsistent with your caring. for the animal. You don't like his head getting twisted off, but you do like him in a salad.
No, I don't like that they killed the animal and then burned it, and like nobody was even sustaining themselves.
No, people were eating. What are you talking about?
They didn't always. They would burn it all up sometimes.
Well, the bird offerings, the other stuff would be for the priests. But anyway, I hear what you're saying, though. Well, Jesus, when he died, he ended the sacrificial system.
Yeah.
He did.
I know he did.
So that's one of the 10 million reasons Jesus died. So Shaun the Sheep could... Ridiculous.
How can you say it's ridiculous? Why are you saying it's ridiculous?
I just don't care about animals like that. I never did. I'm much more of a human person.
Much more of a human.
I'm a speciesist, as Peter Singer.
Yeah.
Peter Singer would say I'm a speciesist.
Okay. So are you going to be sad when we all get to heaven and there's no killing of any animals anymore?
No, I think I'll be relieved that killing is over. That's a very, very good day, especially for me. All right, so to every living worm, write an omen to every living walking through the twilight. Very interesting way to talk about. So every living worm would be human, and every living. So the first part of the stanza is just we're all worms. We're all just living worms, and the second half is like we're walking through twilight. Like life is twilight because twilight is what happens right before nightfall. Yeah. So like this life that we're walking in is twilight because you're just going toward nightfall.
Whoa, that's crazy.
So your lifespan is just the twilight.
What is write an omen? Is an omen like a sign?
An omen is like a sign of a foreboding future, of a bad future. Right, so it's like
a positive one.
Well, I mean, it
yeah, fits. if you're going toward the dark,
if you think that you're just marching toward darkness, and this life, it's interesting. The term worm was very interesting to me.
Well, why was it interesting to you?
Because of Psalm 22.
Oh,
why was it interesting to you?
Because it just made me think about is it Slipknot that calls them maggots?
Maggots.
Yeah. I'm like, but it's interesting because I mean maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like when Slipknot calls them maggots. There's
a term of endearment.
Yes! Yes! Yep.
Yeah. I always used to make fun of Slipknot. I was a big Korn fan, so it's like, I'm a Korn kid. Which, 18, 19 years old, calling myself a Korn kid. But I'm like, you're maggots. They don't even love you. Yeah.
Okay, Psalm 22.
Well, Psalm 22...
prophecy.
That famous statement, my God, why have you forsaken me, that Jesus speaks on the cross, is actually, he's quoting Psalm chapter 22, which was written about 800 years earlier.
Right.
And in Psalm 22, there's a guy who is never named, but his hands and feet are pierced. People are gambling for his clothes and mocking him. And of course, this is written 800 years before Jesus. This is before the Persians the milieu that it was written in, crucifixion wasn't a big thing at the time. But anyway, at one point in the psalmist says, "I am a worm and not a man." And I think the actual Hebrew word actually means maggot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so this person, obviously we believe it's prophetically speaking about Jesus, but this person is saying that he feels dehumanized, that he feels like a worm and not a man, like a maggot and not a human being anymore. Because as you said, he was disfigured beyond human recognition on the cross, according to Isaiah 52:13, I believe. And so he is completely wrecked, and so at some point he becomes dehumanized.
He was lied about. He was betrayed. He was mocked.
Right. So it's like. It's interesting for him to say to every living worm because he has gotten to the point where that's his view of humanity.
Yeah.
Of course, whatever you say about humanity is what you say about yourself. And so it's a very interesting thought process that in Christian theology, what we are saying is that God came down and became a human. And then that as a human, he even lowered himself to that degree to become a worm so that he could relate to a guy like this. So when you have the imagery of a person being crucified and then a person calling a person a worm, I'm sure he has no clue about the connections between Psalm 22 and Isaiah 53, but it's there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's why I say, like, there's a lot of God, I believe that God is very, very present in these situations because there's a reason he has this perspective on humanity and life and himself. And there's a reason that he wants to use imagery like that. And so it's like, I see in Jesus dying on the cross, Jesus absorbing the very worst of what humanity has to offer. Yeah. While at the same time relating to the horror of the worst of what humanity has to offer. You know. Yeah,
and it's like you say.
It's very interesting.
It's like you say too about like if something is true, it's going to be true in unconscious situations. Like if you have to, you have a certain worldview and you talk about your worldview in a discussion or in a debate, but then when it's actual real life, you do something that opposes that thought process or that view. Right. But here it is, like just the way that you just kind of unpack that, starting from Jesus the worm and then you're relating to this guy. It's all there. Yeah, it's all there. Yeah. Unconsciously so,
But the connections are extremely explicit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Go read Psalm 22, exactly. You'll see it. Yeah. So that was, so I'm like, whoa, like the imagery's there, all there to offend people, or I guess people like me and you are supposed to be offended, but I wasn't particularly offended, especially if,
I wasn't, honestly, I wasn't offended at all. I was just kind of grossed out a little bit.
Right, and I also think that's, somebody was saying like about the Mayhem video, they were like, oh, it's meant to repulse you, and, Mayhem didn't repulse us.
No,
we were just,
it didn't. I wouldn't use the word repulse.
Yeah, it was just exhausting because, in our opinion, the art was terrible. I thought the music here was pretty good. Yeah. I thought the notes were the notes were pretty distinct.
Even his voice.
I liked his voice too. His voice was good. The notes were very distinct. I could tell, like, musically, sonically, what was happening. The production was obviously much better. I'm sure we're going to get somebody say, actually, these guys are really black metal because they're overproduced. Yeah, But, and I like the, he has a very commanding stage presence, this guy. Yep. He's like, I would agree with that. I am the alpha dog. The rest of his people are just
so
like,
that's the same guy that was staring off in that video?
That was the same guy, yeah.
He's got his element. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, that's where he's the most comfortable.
Yeah, he's the most comfortable there,
Yeah. But he was saying that in the Vice interview, he was upset at the fans who came to the show for the music because he wanted the show to be a ritual about Satanism. And so he was upset that it's kind of, it was interesting because, in the Christian world, you had these worship leaders and like, some of them will be upset that people are going there just to enjoy the music, which I completely get because it's not about the music. The music is a channel to get somewhere. Yeah. And so I completely understand why, if you really are a theistic Satanist and believe that this is a person and that your music is an offering to Satan, then of course
I'd be so annoyed too.
He seemed very offended at his own fans, which is, he was working for the glory of someone else, and you got to give it to him. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so every living walking through the tile, every night there is a fire. Singeing and burning, the curse of a child bring the pain out. So I think he says every night there is a fire. I think he's talking about like the human drive and desire.
Well, he just talked about twilight.
Right.
And now he's going to what happens every night.
Right. There was a fire.
And then what are you saying is the fire?
It's because might and lust are my work. So I think he's talking about like the human propensity, the drive. Passion is always talked about as fire. Because the next thing you see is singeing and burning, the curse of a child bring the pain out. Yeah. So we're just worms, we're walking around, everybody's gross on top of each other. Every night there's a fire, right? And then what do you get from that fire? The curse of a child. And it's very painful.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
What the fuck? Are you serious?
There it is. It's like, this is like a lot of people's life are consumed with that, and then singeing and burning, and then boom, the curse of a child bring the pain out. So it's like, this is your view of humanity, that children
and reproduction,
but children are a curse. Well, if you hate human beings, and if you believe that human beings are a scourge, then of course.
Well, that's that whole the evil. How did we? Now I can't even think of it. Augustine, what did he say?
that copulation was a necessarily
evil because
to accomplish the dominion mandate.
Because you have this lust, you want to,
right?
But now
it's
you
burning
have
in you.
Burning, yeah. But then, yeah, the curse of a child. Bring the that's. What?
There you are.
Isn't that so? And you know, like when I hear that, and then I see Dory's face. You know what I mean? I'm like, how can you say that?
Yeah. Of course, so the scripture says that children are a blessing or from the Lord.
Yeah.
A reward from the Most High. But I mean, look at our culture. Our current culture looks at children as curses, not as blessings. And so, I mean, it makes a ton of sense from this guy's worldview. Of course, biblically speaking, there is pain associated with childbirth. The pain is the curse, not the child.
Right. Right.
So and I think the Bible very carefully tries to make that distinction with saying, okay, you're going to have pain in childbirth and pain in childbearing. I mean, it comes to the point where it says a woman will be saved through childbearing.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand what that passage means, but the trauma of being a mother, not only birthing a child, because I mean, in the ancient world, think about this.
I know.
You would die.
Yep.
You would die in childbirth.
Yep.
And your child, and a lot of kids would die early.
Yeah.
Infant mortality rates were sky high in the ancient areas.
Yep.
And so, like, if the womb was a war zone.
Yeah.
And if you made it out alive, then you had to raise a really bratty kid who could take years off of your life. They really do.
I know.
But what's interesting is that the Bible's pretty realistic about that and says, basically, look, if you can make it out, God will basically say, okay, you're in, because you need so much of God's power to raise a child properly.
No, it's true. It's so true.
So
pushes you to damn limits.
So it pushes you to God, and in that sense, you're saved through childbirth.
No, it does too, because there's sometimes where I'm thinking, I don't say what the fuck to the kids, but I think it sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing again? And then I say to myself, I literally don't know what to do. I literally don't know.
There have been times I've been so mad, I'm like, just shut up. And then, of course, the kids are allowed to call us on shit all the time. So, like, it doesn't matter how angry you are. One of them will be like, you can't use that word.
Yeah, you can't say that.
And sometimes it'll be like, there's one kid that's like really just fucking shit up right now. And then, I'll be like, just shut up. And then the other ones will be like, you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. And you have to apologize. And it's like,
I know. Then they'll be like, we'll be like, all right, that's it. You did that. Now when we all go out to play football, you're going to stay in your room.
Gosh.
And then the other kids will be like, well, how's it going to be family time without them?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're terrible. They lie against us. And
But yeah, so sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? And then I get to the point where I'm like, what can I do? Like, I've grounded you. I've put you in for timeout. I've had the conversations, blah, blah, blah.
We're going to have them listen to some Gorgoroth. Curse of a child.
So then I'll be like, Lord, you have to help me. Like, I literally don't know how to help this kid of yours. Please, God, help me with it. Help me to figure out
There's nothing that'll push you to prayer like a child. God almighty.
Because some of the habits and the things that kids get into, you're like, you can't have this when you're an adult. I mean, what the heck? You're going to,
Yeah. So the curse of a child, bring the pain out. There you are. Ours is spirit, raped intelligence. We exist all to awaken and save us from war. Raped intelligence.
Yeah, I know, because he just talked about the burning, and then now there's a kid, and now he's talking about rape. Like, I know that rape is a word that he's trying to explain something. I don't think he's talking about literal rape.
Raped intelligence.
But I don't understand what he's trying to communicate.
It seems like he's saying, like, spirituality results in the inevitable rape of a person's intelligence. Because, a lot of people say, like, you guys are so smart, I just don't understand why you could believe in God and blah, blah, blah. Like, people put, like, intellect and spirituality as, like, as opposing views. Of course, I would invite these good people to read Jonathan Edwards's The Nature of True Virtue, or his excursus on the Trinity, and you tell me if there's some dichotomy between spirituality and intelligence.
Right.
Please, if you can understand anything from John Owen or Jonathan Edwards, shit that he was writing when he was 16 years old, get back to me. I always run into these people, like these pseudo-intellects.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the people that we spend like a lot of time within the village and like have genuine questions, but these pseudo-intellectual, haughty kids who saw a Sam Harris video and now think they know something, don't know anything.
Well, I really
and they act
think
like
though that logic,
they're really intelligent. It's insane to me.
I think that like reason and logic is not being taught anymore. And I feel like I remember growing up and my dad would say, think it through. Now, not about theological things. My dad would say it about practical things. Hey, look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. Like when we were doing projects. And so now, you know, like it's just in my mind. Like when you're doing something, you have to look at what's going to happen next if I do this, you know?
Right.
But I don't think that's taught in, you know, in the school systems, in families and stuff like that. So people don't think, that, like you said, they see some YouTube video and then they think that they know everything. And then they go talking, but then they can't sit. But then when Vinny puts out a debate, you know, who wants to debate, there, you know, there's barely no takers. And then somebody's a taker and then everybody makes fun of the guy. It's like, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like people need to start thinking stuff through the you know, just the way that everything is, what's the end result, the inevitable ramifications of thought processes and how that affects our daily life. And I don't know.
Yeah. Which carving a giant. That's an interesting. So the title of the song is Carving a Giant.
That's right.
Carving the eye of a god, create me. So this seems to be the crux of the song, which is the giant seems to be God, right? Because carving a giant, carving the eye of a god. So you like get close enough to carve, you know, a giant, and the giant's obviously not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because how the hell could you carve up a giant?
Right.
And it seems like he's saying that he's carving out the eye of a god that then creates him. It's like his ability to see through the facade of what a god actually is and tear that to shreds or carve it out is what makes him who he is.
Yeah.
Torn so.
Oh.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, I was picturing like once he does this, then he's telling me, I create me. But you're saying that by doing
the process of doing
it
that
changes him, just like
him.
all the things that we do in our life change us in ways. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and later in the song he says, and every night I am the flame, and every night there is a fire. So now that he's like coming to this awakening about himself, standing as a human facing a god, fighting and turning your secrets. Right, like he's a man and he's gonna go and oppose God and he's gonna fight and expose the secrets. And I guess the ultimate secret from his perspective is that the God that we worship is really a bad guy and that the devil's really a good guy, which a lot of people say, right? So anyway, yeah, it just seems to be the story of you know, human empowerment and his view of the world and the mass of humanity. So there you are. What do you give the song?
I didn't really like it. Yeah.
I actually like this song.
I didn't really like.
I like the musicianship.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you giving it?
It's an 8.5.
Whoa.
It's an 8.5, maybe even a 9. Lyrically, I thought it was pretty perceptive. There weren't a lot of lyrics, but the song wasn't very long. And as far as black metal goes, this to me seems to be on the higher end of musicianship. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
And it was a live-ish show, and I love live shows. Because I like to see the people. I love to see that people are really sold into their music. I don't like people. I don't like artists who are like detached from their music.
No, I totally agree.
And so, like, obviously, I don't agree with the messaging, but I think lyrically, I think he did. Like, this is like the difference between this and Freezing Moon. Like, obviously, I don't agree. Frozen Moon, whatever it is. I don't agree with what he's saying, but the way that he constructed it and the metaphor of carving a giant, I thought is
that's true.
Was brilliant.
That's true.
And I thought it was something unique and not like. You know, again, he's coming from the perspective of a devil, but I mean, by the end of the song, he's basically embodying that himself. So, I just thought that the lyrics were very inventive and that they were saying something like specific to him. It wasn't just raw. It was like he was saying real shit about the way that he looks at the world. And musically, I thought it was really good. I liked the production. I could hear the distinct notes.
Yep.
That's important to me, but it was still like the black metal tremolo stuff. I like that. So yeah, I 8.5, maybe even 9, 8.9. Sorry, 8.9.
Okay.
Because it was. I would have liked for him to develop the song more, but I mean, I say that a lot with short songs.
Yes,
but
you do.
But I think he developed it as much as it needed to be for a 3-minute song, and I don't know what the rest of the album sounds like. So, that's one of the flaws in reviewing only one song.
When he says to anyone raking the twilight, what did that mean?
I don't know if raking the twilight is the actual real word, but remember, the twilight is this life.
Yep.
And so it's like raking is what you do, it's like you're toiling in twilight. So you're dealing with and he's basically saying this is the way out of just that.
Okay,
that
so he's sending a
form of
message to all those people.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay.
So he is the flame to anyone raking the twilight. So like this is
the way out.
This is the way out. This is the light that you can have, and of course, Satan and his messengers, according to 2 Corinthians, are angels of light. They disguise themselves as angels of light. And of course, he says it. See, the thing about him is like there's no fine print.
No.
He's the father of unholy damnation light.
Yeah.
So the light here, from the very beginning in the first stanza, that it's damnation's light. And there is a light of damnation that people follow.
Yes.
So, there you go. If you're following Lucifer, then you're following a light bringer who's also going to bring you to damnation. Whatever that means.
Well, I guess I would give the song probably... Okay, I'm going to give it 2 ratings. One is how I think that they actually did, like, production-wise and, concept-wise and stuff like that. I'd probably go with, like, an 8, or an 8.5. 8.5. But for me personally, a 2. That's the
first time you've done that? What do you mean? I don't understand.
So, like, I think that like, Mayhem for me was all around. I know Mayhem people, I'm sorry. But Mayhem for me all around was just shit. Start to finish, it was just shit. And this, I didn't think was. Like, I thought that, I felt like that they really went out of their way. I don't like the stage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like all the bodies, all that grossness. But I thought that they took the time to make sure that they did it excellently. I don't even feel like that they just friggin' threw blood all over the place. I felt like they were strategic in the way that they had the blood dripping.
Looks like very meticulous.
Yes. And I appreciate that kind of excellence, that level of excellence. And then, again, the music, like, the instruments and stuff, I thought that they were well played. There was one instrument, I'm not sure, I think it seemed like it was like a guitar, but it was hitting something like deep and low.
That's the bass.
I wasn't sure if it was the bass because I always picture bass to just be like...
You like rhythm sections. You like the combination of the bass and the drums a lot.
Yeah.
When you notice them,
Yes. So that, like, toward the end of the song, I was like, oh my gosh, this is good. Coupled with his vocals.
Right.
Okay, and I liked all of that mixing together. I was a little disappointed that I was so friggin' distracted by the nastiness of the video that I missed out on some of the...
So where's the 2 coming from?
The 2 is just, I overall feel like an upset stomach about the song because I'm really grossed out.
I'm going to take a shower after this.
Yeah, I think that that's what's happening. And so, because of, like, the way that my stomach feels, I feel a little bit like
doesn't
gagging.
that mean that it did what it was supposed to do?
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. So I guess that goes to why I'm giving it 8.5.
Right.
But I already felt kind of like gaggish today. Like, I was brushing my teeth and I'm like, ugh.
8.5.
And that was before the
8.9 for me.
Okay, so I'm going with an 8.5.
Okay, 8.9.
And honestly, as whack as this is, I appreciate the fact that he didn't want people at his show that were there for the music, but just there for the ritual. I don't think the ritual's good, and I don't think people should worship. But I do think that it's important that people go all in with what they're doing.
Well, if we weren't who we were, then we would be like these people.
Oh yeah, if I was on that side,
I wouldn't be doing the like behemoth Satan is a archetypical.
No.
I would be like, this is this shit, and I would be scary. I would.
I know.
I sometimes think that
I'd on purpose look for people in the show who are there for the music, and I'd be mean to them. Like, I don't want to say be mean because I don't want to put myself too much out there, but I would. If I was them, I would do something. I would make sure that they never made it to another one of the shows for that reason.
I agree. Me and you, we'd be legends.
Yep.
In the black metal world if we were like these people.
But we're not.
Thankfully.
We're Christians, so we'll be sending out your book soon.
And we're writing a novel, or a fantasy novel, or whatever. I'm actually very excited.
So rock those shirts.
Sorry, secrets. I'm actually really excited about the book. I really am.
Which? Oh, the one you're writing.
The one that I'm writing, and the one that you're doing the vocalization for, and then Pony's doing the art.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I can't. Pony, hurry up and send us a freaking. Stills, please.
I know. I was like, oh, she sent a photo, and it was sushi.
I know. I saw that in the car.
I'm really happy about your sushi, but please.
Where's the fucking photo? Where is she?
Okay, no pressure. We know you have a family too, so.
Yeah. So again, if you guess the number between 100
and 300.
Did I say 200 and 300? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay,
I was like, why did he go? And I'm like, oh, you didn't want any repeat
numbers. If you can guess the number between 200 and 300, then we'll give you a golden ticket and we'll give you access to the chapters. Right now, it's only like the $10 patrons and above that get the published, and then So I don't know when we're releasing the actual chapters.
You can put more than one guess. It just
you can put more than one guess.
I mean, don't put 100 of them. Like maybe one a day. What do you think?
Yeah.
One guess a day.
We're gonna be putting the chapters on Amazon for like $1.99.
Yeah.
But if
so
you're
you'll be able to get it. But
if you're $10 patron, it automatically comes up with your.
So no more than 2 guesses per day, I guess, for everybody.
All right.
Okay.
All right. And the black metal week. Oh, hold on.
What?
So favorite black metal song.
Well, it's the one Dimmu Borgir.
Dimmu Borgir. I think it means Dark Forest or something like that. The
I think my favorite,
Gateway song. Yeah, because that woman singing.
I can't guess. And then all the people playing in the background.
I think
it's too much.
I think the Emperor song. I think the Emperor song was my favorite song.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I just liked it. I liked the musicianship, and I also liked the fact that they were 16 or 17 when they wrote it.
That was pretty crazy.
I was very, very, very impressed.
That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie, because usually people when they're that, they have to.
You should have heard the shit I was writing when I was 17 years old. I mean, forget. Musically, lyrically, I was a badass, but.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Musically, forget it.
All right, I can see that.
I was blown away by I think his name is Ishan or whatever, but Emperor was my favorite. Dimmu Borgir, I liked it too. I liked the performance. What was your least favorite black metal song?
Mayhem.
Shout out to the big homie Vard. Hey, we need to do an interview.
I still feel annoyed about it.
We need to do an interview with Vard, man.
Oh, I would interview him. I would.
Why did you bring that to us? So favorite was Emperor. Your favorite was Dimmu Borgir.
Yeah.
These guys are actually second place for me with this song.
Whoa.
This song beat the Dimmu song. The Dimmu song was very like, okay, yeah, I get it. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right, but this one was more like for what he was like believing in and whatever.
I didn't feel bored at any of the parts.
In this song?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like some of them I'm like, oh.
Yeah, just hurry up.
Like yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard this. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad.
I feel like that if I can know what the next progression is gonna be, then it's really fucking boring.
Yeah, well,
because you play stuff, you're like, okay, let me teach you something on the guitar, and then you'll like do this little thing, and you're like, you got it, and I'm like, fucking no, I don't. I know one thing that you did there, and it was a very simple whatever, but like, yeah. Sorry, bad sign. If Sori can follow it and could play it directly after you play it.
Well, you're a pretty artistic person. I don't think that's a bad sign. I don't know, you worm.
You maggot.
On hand to me.
All right.
Then out.
Sori out.
Gone.